Hello and welcome back. Today we are working on a quilt square and it is a Sawtooth star. So I'm going to show you how to make it. We are going to make a 12.5-inch block. So that's what we're doing today. And we've got our fabrics ready and we are going to get started sewing. I've already cut them, but I will show you the sizing that I did and then we'll start making the block. I've already cut our pieces, but I'm going to show you how I did it. This is going to be our cornerstones. So we're going to need 4 of these little squares and they are 3.5-inch squares. So that is our first piece. Our second piece, we're going to need 4 of these squares that look like this. They measure 3 7/8. So when we cut them crossways one time, like across here one time, then that 3 7/8 block that we had 4 of now becomes 8 triangles. So we've got that piece. Then I'm going to need 1 square of a 7 1/4-inch block. So I'm going to have 1 block like that, that's 7 1/4 inches squared, and then I'm going to cross cut it to make it 4 triangles, and that's my next piece. Then I'm going to need 1 square of a 6.5-inch piece, and this piece and this piece will be my focal point of the block. My background piece will be these two. So I've got my 4 pieces. I'm going to start putting them together. This is my center. I'm going to put it to the side right now. I don't need it just yet. I need these pieces. I can put these pieces to the side too. I need these pieces. So I'm going to take 1 of these and 2 of these. And I'm going to make it like this to form a flying geese. So I'm going to do that with all of these pieces. I'm going to put 2 of the coloreds to 1 of the background, and then I'm going to sew them together. So we'll take this and sew a 1/4 inch down this line. Then we'll open it up and we'll do the same thing on this side. So let's go to the sewing machine. Okay, I've got this triangle, and like I said, I'm going to lay this one on top of this, and I'm going to take it to the sewing machine and I'm going to sew a 1/4 inch. Once I get that done, I'm going to cut this thread. And then I'm going to open this up and iron it open. So I'm taking it over here to the ironing board. And now I've got it open. Then I'm going to take my other piece and I'm going to do the same thing. Lay it the other way. Take it to the sewing machine and do a 1/4 inch. So now I've got 1 flying geese made. I'm going to iron it open, that side of it. And now my unit is made. All I need to do now is cut off these little, what do you call them? Dog ears. Couldn't think of that word. So I'm going to cut them off. You can do that with scissors or a rotary cutter. Move those to the side and throw them away. Then I've got 1 of these, and I need 3 more just like it. So I'm going to make another unit just like it, and I'm going to keep going until all of these are done. I'm going to iron this a little bit flatter. So I'm going to make this the same way, and when I come back, we'll have 4 of our flying geese units made. As I'm making these, I wanted to remind you that you could chain piece them like I'm going to do. I'm going to do 1 side of each of them, and then I'll go back and add the other side. It just speeds it up just a little bit. So I'm going to sew all these right sides on, and then I'll sew all the left sides on, cut the dog ears, and I'll be back. Now that I've got my 4 flying geese units, I am going to take them one by one, and I'm going to take one unit like this and the other unit like this. So I'm going to put them to where the colored sections of the flying geese are touching the colored center of the Sawtooth star. And I'm going to line it up like that. Line it up on that, down the side on the seam, on the edge of the fabric. Then I'm going to sew a 1/4 inch seam. I'm going to cut that thread. And before I go any further, I go ahead and iron it open. You can wait till you're done with this whole unit if you want to, but I like to get it over with because ironing is not my favorite thing. So then I'm going to take this side and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take the colored units touching, then I'm going to take them to the sewing machine and I'm going to sew a 1/4 inch down this side. Cut my thread, iron it open, and now my unit should look like this. So I've got the middle section done. I'm going to set it to the side because now what I need to work on is the other sections, the top and the bottom. So I'm going to bring back these pieces that we put to the side, and I'm going to sew one to each end of the remaining 2 flying geese. So I'll sew one on this side and one on this side. So I'm going to line them up, sew them at a 1/4 inch. So the next one the same way. Then I'll cut that thread. Go ahead and iron them open to get that out of the way. Then I'll do the other side. Take one square to this end. And one square to this end. Cut my thread again. Cut them apart and iron them open. And this makes my top and bottom sections. They should look alike. So then what I'll do is I'll bring back that middle section, take one of these sections and put it to the top so that now my colored section again is touching my colored section. I'm going to put it on top of each other. This is where I'll break my pins out. And I will line these seams up. So I'll take this seam right here and this seam right here, this one here. And I want them to line up. So I'm going to put them right on top of each other, roll it to the top, and then pin it in place. I'm going to do the same thing with this seam. Make sure they're lined up on top of each other. Pin it. And then I'm going to start at the end of this piece and sew a 1/4 inch. I'll take my pins out as I get to them. Make sure it stays lined up good. I'll cut that thread. And then I'll iron this section open. So now I've got the top of it. So I'm gonna flip it upside down. I'm gonna do the same thing. Put my colored units, touching my colored units. Put them on top of each other. Match those seams up. Do the same thing, roll those seams to where they get to the top. I'm just matching them up and then I'm rolling them to the top, kind of watching as I roll it so that I can see that that seam is still right on top of that seam. Then I'm going to sew a 1/4 inch again. And when I get done with this seam, we're done with the block. It's a quick and easy block to put together. And it's a very pretty block when it's done. I'll cut my thread, iron this piece open. And I'm done with my block. So just like that, we are done with this block, and this is what it looks like. It's a very pretty block when it's put together, and this block is probably one of my favorite blocks. You know, if you know me at all, you know I love stars, but this star is just pretty to me. I don't know why, but it is. This would make a very pretty, and dare I say, I will probably add it to my to-do stack. I don't even know if I'll be able to do everything that I have in my to-do stack, but I am surely going to try. But this is one that I would love to make, whether it be out of fat quarters or out of scraps. Either way, this would be a gorgeous quilt. Just this block, one after the other, after the other, after the other. It's just such a pretty block. So just like that, we are done with this block and ready to move on to our next project. You guys have a great afternoon. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope it helped you. If you have any questions, like always, put them in the comments. Like and subscribe if you have not already. And if you have, we appreciate you greatly. If you haven't, please do so. It helps us out. And anyone else you watch on YouTube, if you enjoy their videos, if you learn from them, always subscribe to their channel. It helps them a lot, and it shows them that people like what they're doing. So it helps us a lot. Until next time, you guys have a great afternoon, have a great day, whatever you're doing. And until next time, happy quilting.